Okay, so here is our course wall. First, I'm going to go over the syllabus, and in the next recording, we will go through the wall. So here's our syllabus. This is the course description. So population-focused nursing, we're going to talk about health promotion, health maintenance, education, disease prevention, and coordination of care for individuals, families, groups, and communities. So public health nursing. We're going to talk about epidemiology, which is the study of disease, identifications of populations at risk, so understanding what populations are vulnerable to issues with health, and what makes them vulnerable, and also, different causes as to what leads to vulnerability. We're going to explore the difference in rural, suburban, and urban environments, and also how to implement health evaluations in different community settings. So we're going to use community and public health theory and principles, and you're also going to explore the roles of a public health nurse as a teacher, collaborator, advocate, investigator, research, and direct care provider. I think public health nursing is the coolest area, the area that is going to exact the most change. Maybe that's because I am a public health nurse. But our course objectives. So you're going to conduct a geographically based community assessment, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. You're going to identify 5 key health problems and create nursing interventions. So you're going to be able to create nursing diagnoses for communities. I know that's very exciting for you. We're going to discuss the use of technology and information systems in providing evidence-based nursing care in populations. So informatics is pervasive in all aspects of healthcare, and how we use technology, how we use information systems to track disease, to track populations, and then also how to provide evidence-based nursing care through pulling evidence out of technology data systems. We're going to talk about response systems for disasters. This impacts population and communities. We're going to describe structures and functions of the different healthcare delivery for population-based care at all levels, so worldwide, national, state, and local. We're going to analyze impacts of how environment, genetics, lifestyle, and economics affects the health of other populations. We're going to talk about Healthy People 2020 health objectives. So these are objectives set for the United States as to what we want to improve in healthcare. So this is going to help us understand how to assess, plan, implement, and evaluate community-based programs for vulnerable populations. We're also going to integrate population-focused nursing, public health concepts, epidemiology in the care of communicable diseases, chronic disease, and disease prevention. We're also going to describe a variety of different nursing roles in public health and the current issues that affect practice. And these next 3 are repetitive, and I apologize. So required resources, we're going to use Stanhope and Lancaster, Foundations of Nursing in the Community. I will say that most nursing colleges will use Stanhope and Lancaster. It's just the best. And also being able to have access to Healthy People 2020. And that can be found at this site. You can also just Google Healthy People 2020. There's a website for it, and it talks about all the cool different aspects of this file. So other reading necessary, I will provide for you. Also, if you have to write papers or do research, you're responsible for finding that research, and I'll show you how some resources to use to get there. So instruction methods, lecture, discussion board. Discussion board's really important. That's how I know you're interacting with class. So discussion boards need to be thoughtful. There's going to be some reading and writing and homework assignments. We'll also have some tests. This is distance education. So here's, the general classroom policy. I'm going to go over mine. So, we need to build a respectful learning work environment that allows for positive communication and teamwork. Everyone needs to abide by academic policies related to attendance, behavior, professional conduct. So you refer to the catalog. And here's the breakdown of our grades. So we're on a 7-point scale. Anything below a 78 is considered failing. So we'll have 2 discussion boards per week. Initial posts on both are due on Thursday by 11:55 p.m. And then you must each respond to 2 different posts before that following Sunday at 11:55 p.m. So you have to, in order not to be counted late, you have to post initially on both discussion boards, okay? And you make sure you respond to your peers. If we don't have a lot of people in the class, you guys are responsible for responding to each other. And also I post, so you can respond to me. There's going to be an assignment called Role of the Public Health Nurse. Community assessment assignment, and then we have 2 tests, and then you're going to have some journals for your clinical aspect. And if you don't pass clinical, you can't pass the course. Okay, so here are the core values for Beckfield. And then clinical immersion objectives. So you are going to complete 12 hours of clinical immersion observation in a community health setting. You are going to work with a nurse in the community setting. So in the book, it's really well listed what different nurses you could possibly work with in the community setting. But every semester I get questions about someone who clearly doesn't work in community health. So make sure you look through that chapter, okay? You're going to work collaboratively with other healthcare professionals as well, and you're going to understand how the nurse's role in community health, but also how you can provide care to community as a population. So we'll go through the clinical packet, but this course requires 12 clinical hours with a registered nurse who has a master's or bachelor's minimum in nursing, okay? So they can't have an RN, but their bachelor's be in education. And they have to work in a nursing role in the community health setting. All students have to notify and receive approval from the course instructor of the clinical site and preceptors prior to starting. So if you send me your clinical packet at the end of the semester and I haven't approved it and you did all this work, it's not going to be counted, okay? And all documentation has to be turned in correctly and completely prior to starting, and you have to get written verification that you are good to go from me via email. Your clinical hours have to be completed in 4 separate clinical experiences on 4 different calendar days. They may not be blocked into less calendar days than 4. There are no exceptions, okay? None, no, zip, 0. So you will have to do 4 different visits to equal 12 hours, okay? Before you start clinical, I expect to have fully filled out the first 7 pages of your clinical packet, the confidentiality form, and the liability form, and it must be scanned to me in a PDF document via email. Okay, so you make sure you go through page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and make sure it is filled out. Every single line is filled out, because I will send it back to you and it will delay your start of clinical. The confidentiality form and liability form must also be signed. All of this has to be sent to me via email in a PDF document. So that means it has to be scanned. I will not take pictures, and you cannot send it to me via the mail. Or faxed, because I need to be able to save this documentation. So it is really easy to scan stuff from your phone. There's a ton of free scanning apps. And then, so prior to starting, you have to receive approval from me. You have to. And it's a very official looking email. Anything completed prior to the okay won't count. Clinical placement, Joanna Smith, at Nursing Relations Manager for Beckfield, she can help direct you guys. She's not fully responsible for getting you into clinical placement, but she comes up with ideas and helps you get connected. So I would just say on day 1, go ahead and contact her and work with her. And she keeps me in contact. So, don't come to me at the end of the month, at the end of the quarter and tell me, I haven't heard anything. I don't know anything that's going on. And then Joanna tell me that she's never heard from you. All right, so that we'll go into clinical stuff a little more later. So for online students, the attendance policy is a little different because we're online. So you have to meaningfully post on time every week, which means before Thursday of the start of the next week. So every week starts on Thursday, except the first week is obviously Monday, and it's a short week. It goes Monday to Thursday night at 11:55. So you have to you have to post on time, and it has to be a meaningful post. So just logging on to Moodle doesn't count. So it's, making a substantial and relevant initial post, responding to someone, submitting an assignment, attempting a quiz. Emailing me does not count. Makeup policy, that's based on my discretion. I'll tell you that now that I've been teaching for 3 years, I really do expect documentation, extenuating circumstances, and if there is a pattern, I won't give you extensions. In terms of extensions or makeups for the course or overall, I will only allow for extensions for courses for extenuating circumstances, and you must be in good standing in the course and have 80% of your work completed, which means if you haven't turned anything since week 2 and week 6, you ask for a course extension, I won't allow it. Academic integrity. So it's really important that you don't plagiarize, whether it is through accidental or deliberate. If I find that it's deliberate, I will fail you and fail you from the course. There's no excuse for it. If it is accidental, first time I will deduct points, give you a chance to rewrite. Second time, failure of the project, like a 0, and then third time, failure from the course. And then after that, it's up to the school. If you don't think that you're good at writing, then you need to get to the Learn Center and to the library. I am not here to edit your papers or teach you how to write. So if that's not your strong suit, you really need to make sure that you talk to someone about that. And in one of the following lectures, I will give you some tips on avoiding plagiarism. I'm a really big stickler for writing, so I expect you guys to be adhere to this code. So the Learning Center is available online to you guys, and they can help you with writing and APA. So if you're not a good writer, I would get with them as soon as possible. I am awesome at APA. I am an awesome writer. And so I get very distracted if someone's writing is not done in great format. And I'm not talking about a period here or there. APA format is really easy to use if you use your APA book. Most people don't, so most people get things incorrect. Please get your APA book out. Please get on OWL Purdue and look up how to reference and cite things correctly. I can tell immediately when something's incorrect. So especially when it comes to citing things without an author, most students get that incorrect the first time. And I don't mind, showing you one time, but after that, it gets pretty frustrating. And the same with writing and formatting. So again, just reaching out to the Learning Center. They're so awesome and they will help you. I'm not going to edit your papers. So if you miss on APA and you miss on format and grammar and syntax, I'm just going to tell you that you missed on that. I'm not going to correct a paper for you. Just because the point of this class is for me to teach you nursing concepts and not to teach you how to write. But you are expected to be able to write properly. All right, so here's the course syllabus, the course outline breaking down. So week 1, we're going to talk about healthcare delivering and nursing and the perspectives and influences around that. Week 2, we're going to talk about conceptual frameworks in nursing practice in the community. And you also will have roles of community nurse assignment due. Week 3 is our midterm, and we are going to talk about issues and approaches in population management and healthcare. Week 5, you are going, I'm sorry. Week 4, You are going to talk about healthcare or community health of the family and individuals, and then vulnerable populations. Um, and week 5, your community assess, or week 4, your community assessment is due. Week 5, you're going to talk about roles and functions of advanced nursing practice in the community. And you have your final exam and your clinical packet, pages 1 through 16, filled out to a T, every single thing, with all the forms complete, need to be scanned to me, plus all your journal entries, okay? And that is it when covering the syllabus.